Hi again, Year 10, and this is now lesson 3 of week 4 online learning. You've worked very hard this week. Didn't mean to do that quickly. You've worked very hard this week, and I appreciate the amount of work. If you're finding that the work is taking too long, then do let me know. I've tried to time it so that you can get through activities. If you find that you have to take some forward to the next lesson, then so be it. But hopefully you can get stuff done in the time, and do stop working when you've reached the 40-minute limit of the lesson. So this one is more manageable. I think this particular lesson has less to cover in it. We're going to be consolidating what we've done this week, so looking at comparatives, superlatives, adjectives describing teachers. And as a starter, please, you saw this already, it flashed up and then it's now won't come back. It's a Quizlet. So if you can click on the Quizlet link in Google Classroom, it's all about los profesores. Spend some time on each of the study activities first, please, guys. Don't go straight to the play one. Do the flashcards, learn, write, spell, and test. And then once you've done that, you can move on to the play activities, match and gravity. Okay, so maybe 10 minutes or so on 10 to 15 minutes on Quizlet, and make sure you're responding to the register if I'm calling it now. And then when you're ready, come back to this video and move on to the next activity. Okay, so assuming that you've now come back and you've had some practice on Quizlet for the vocabulary, and that should be pretty well consolidated now. You've done listening and reading tasks this week, and we're going to do a translation task today, and also set some targets on how to improve. So just something I want to go through first with you. We saw this in the list, or we had this in the listening when people were describing teachers. And I just want to flag up how you can use adverbs to extend your sentences. So we've got bastante, un poco, and poco, as well as demasiado. Use these to extend your sentences and describe verbs. So, bastante, estudio bastante, I study quite a bit. Estudio un poco, I study a bit. Estudio poco, I study not very much, I don't study a lot. Estudio demasiado, I study too much. Okay, so those are used with your verbs to extend them and give more sort of precision to your language. Or you can enhance adjectives. Now this is slightly different. Notice the position for a start. Estudio demasiado, I study too much. Es demasiado fácil. Here's your adjective, and it comes in front of it. It's too easy. So if you're using estudio demasiado, I study too much, es demasiado fácil, it's too easy. So you can see how they're used slightly differently. I study quite a bit, estudio bastante, it's quite easy, es bastante fácil. So when you're using them in front with adjectives, they come in front. When you use them with verbs, they come afterwards. Okay, qualifiers here are used only with adjectives. Muy, tan. So muy is very, my house is very small. Tan is so, the school is so modern. You may also have sort of muy, or I'm just trying to think if there are other ones that I tell you to use there. But anyway, muy is very, and remember that that people get mucho and muy muddled up. So estudio mucho, it would be I study a lot. Es muy difícil estudiar is very difficult to study. So remember, these are only used with adjectives. Muy, very, and tan, so. So moving on, once you've made a note of this, please make a note of it. Pause the video to do that. When you're ready, move on. And it'd be nice if my PowerPoint would move on. Okay, so here we are. The writing paper contains a translation into Spanish at GCSE, and this is a similar one to the one that you might get in the real exam. We've got different tenses. We've got I like my school. We have modern facilities. I am very stressed. I would like to have more free time. It's going to be a conditional. Yesterday, I couldn't go out with my friends. It's a preterite. I had to do homework, also preterite. This weekend, I'm going to rest is the future. So that would be a normal sort of distribution of tenses that you will get in a translation in the writing paper. So you need to give yourself about 20 minutes for this. You've had in a paper for an hour and a half, for an hour and a quarter rather. That's the sort of amount of time you would get for the translation. So pause the video, do the translation, please. Remember, the bits that are sort of divided up is because you will get a mark for each of those sections. Okay, when you're ready, you can resume the video and check your work. Okay, so here's the correction. So this is doing it chunk by chunk. So can you please use your red pen and either underline or annotate the mistakes you made. You are then going to rewrite it in red pen with writing at the top dirt translation. So first of all, this is just correcting it, and then we'll do the rewrite. So normally I like my school, normalmente me gusta mi instituto. Sorry, I moved my head out of the way here. Tenemos instalaciones modernas y los profesores son buenos. We have modern facilities and the teachers are good. Aunque algunos son demasiado estrictos. So I'm just going to move this back up to the top again. Oh, sorry, my computer is driving me crazy. So this third line here, although some are too strict. Aunque algunos son demasiado estrictos. Now, these are the sorts of words that AQA love putting into translations because they know you forget them. So make sure that you're writing these things down. If you think, 2 days later and you come across this again and think, I should have written it down, I should know this. Aunque, although, algunos is some, and that's talking about some as a plural, so some of them are too strict. If it were just one of them, it would be alguno es demasiado estricto. Estoy de acuerdo con la mayoría de las reglas también. So this is saying I agree with the majority of the rules as well. We saw this is recycling language you've learned this week. Estoy de acuerdo is one of the phrases we used in the sort of debate section of the last lesson. Sin embargo, estoy muy estresado. However, I am very stressed. It's estoy, not soy, because hopefully it's a temporary situation that you're stressed. You might have O at the end or A, depending on whether you're a girl or a boy. ¿Por qué tenemos tantos exámenes? So we have so many. Tanto, tanta, tantos, and tantas means so much or so many. I've got so much money. Tengo tanto dinero. We have so many exams. Tenemos tantos exámenes. It agrees with with the noun that it's describing. Y es difícil repasar todo. That verb there might have been difficult to get. It's difficult to revise everything. Es difícil repasar todo. Me gustaría tener más tiempo libre. Here's your conditional. Hope you all got that one. I would like to have more free time. Me gustaría tener más tiempo libre. Pero ayer no pude salir con mis amigos. Now, I've given you an alternative here. I did say the preterite, but if you had put down the imperfect as well, you would have got the mark. Podía is easier to remember from the verb poder because it's regular in the imperfect. It is irregular in the preterite, which is why it's pude. Excuse me. So either tense would do there. It's talking. It would get the idea across. Similarly here, because I had to do my homework. Now there are a couple of things I'd accept here. Again, tener is regular in the imperfect, but irregular in the preterite. So you may have got this, tenía. You might not have got that one, tuve. but it should really be tuve, but they would accept tener certainly. So I had to do, you have to have this que in here. Tener que hacer is to have to do something. We saw that when we looked at the rules. Tienes que llevar uniforme, for example. It could be mis deberes or los deberes, I don't mind. And then the last bit brought in that the immediate future. Este fin de semana voy a descansar. This weekend I'm going to rest. So you should have 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes, 11 marks there. You have to get everything in the section right to get the mark, which is really tough because you make one mistake and it wipes out a whole line for you. But be strict with your marking. You should have been sort of annotating this as we've gone through it. If you've got a lot of red pen, don't worry about it. What you'll do is now rewrite it in red pen as a perfect piece of work, and then you can compare what you had with what you should have had and write a target to identify what you're going to do to improve and make it as specific as possible. Is it check your adjective agreements? Is it revise opinion phrases? Is it revise tenses? Did you not know the conditional or the simple future, near future, or the preterite? Had you forgotten some of the vocab we've been looking at all for the last 3 weeks? All of those things we have come across, but you won't have retained them all. So try and really identify what you need to work on. You can leave this here now, obviously, and check it a bit more before you move on. I'm going to go on now to say this is the question 3 mark scheme, which you've seen already. If you've got all of those 11 messages across, then you can get 6 marks for conveying the key messages. If virtually faultless, if there are just like a couple of mistakes, then you get 6. If it was highly accurate, 5, and so on. You can't assess your partner because you can't see your partner's work, but you can assess your own and you can set yourself a target and also say how you're going to meet that target. Then I'd like you to post a picture of your translation, please, written in red with red pen correction and your target. So it should be a dirt. It should say dirt, translation, and then the whole thing written out in full, please. That's really important because not being able to sort of see you on a one-to-one basis and look at your books, I need to see how you're doing, and this is what I'm going to be using to assess that. Set yourself a target, and then just before we finish, here's a recap of the objectives. There's some missed off there. We should have had the comparative superlatives here. We've done all of that. We've done a lot this week. So well done for all your hard work. And I will see you next week. Gracias y adiós.